So what's the deal with you and him anyway? Dare I ask?
Him? Him who? Is this supposed to mean something to me?
You know exactly who I'm talking about, Mr. Let's Make Kissy Faces over there.
My. You are jealous, aren't you? Did I take your favorite Grey Warden away from you?
What? I'm not jealous. I'm horrified.
Those blushing cheeks of yours tell a different tale.
These blushing cheeks are terrified that you'll suck all the blood out of them once you're finished with him.
If I feel the need to suck on anything of yours, Alistair, you'll be the first to know.
That was so not what I meant.
Perhaps we should go and tell him together about your touching concerns. Perhaps he'll pay more attention to you if you ask nicely.
Uh-huh. I think we're done here.
Done before you started, in fact.
Please, we came
I hear
here
those
to get
bandits
away
back
from the
again.
fighting.
Why don't the Templars kill them?
I have a wonder, Alistair, if you will indulge me.
Do I have a choice?
Of the two of you that remain, are you not the senior Grey Warden here? I find it curious that you allow another to lead while you follow.
You find that curious, do you?
In fact, you defer to a new recruit. Is this the policy of the Grey Wardens, or simply a personal one?
What do you want to hear? That I prefer to follow? I do.
You sound so very defensive.
Couldn't you crawl into a bush somewhere and die? That would be great, thanks.
As if we needed more fighting
Those
here.
bandits are back
Don't you
again.
see how scared everyone is?
Why don't the Templars kill them? Please, we came here to get away from the fighting.
home.
What happened to the king is so terrible. Is anywhere safe now?
We're planning on running that mine until the last minute.
King is so
Felaron's
terrible.
orders.
Is anywhere safe now?
Maker's blessing to you. Greetings, my lord. Greetings, my lord.
So Terran Loghain is the new regent? Isn't that a good thing?
I heard that he may have had something to do with the king's death.
But I thought Darkspawn killed the king. That doesn't make any sense.
It's probably political nonsense. We'll be lucky if they don't burn down the entire country fighting over the throne.
Did you speak to that knight yesterday? Said he was from Redcliffe.
He talked to everyone in the tavern. How are we supposed to know where the urn of sacred ashes is? Might as well ask us how to get to the moon.
He said that all the Redcliffe knights were looking for it, as if they didn't have anything better to do. I don't get it.
We were lucky. We had the coin to pay the toll for those
We're planning on running that mine until the last minute. Felaron's orders.
How dare you accuse me of thievery?
Take the supply from my car.
And either inept. Chieftains would never stoop to petty theft.
You marsh folk are all thieves and liars!
Enough! People here are already desperate and frightened. They don't need you two coming to blows.
But what about my food?
I said enough!
That marshman stole from me, I know it! The carnage we left in the wilds was horrifying.
refugee. You're part of the army.
That marshman stole from me, I know it! The carnage we left in the wilds was horrifying.
We were lucky. We had the coin to pay the toll for those bandits searching for some holy
It won't be
artifact.
able to defend itself
Not
from the
one of them
Darkspawn.
stopped.
You might not want to go in. Tavern's full, and those soldiers are being a nuisance. Same reason the Chantry's full, packed with people who fled their homes. The tavern keeper's letting folks sleep on the floors, but he can only fit so many. And those soldiers are getting restless. They're not here to defend us. They were looking for someone before they started drinking. I hear they almost killed a man because they didn't like his face. I wonder if they're deserters from the King's army. Is there any reason to be happy? With the King dead, them Darkspawn will overrun Lothering before anyone can organize. You'd think those soldiers could at least run off the bandits. I hear someone gave them what they deserved. Wasn't you, was it? It was? Hey, everyone! This is the one who drove out those thieving bastards! More will probably come, but it's good to know some justice is left here. Thank you. You might not want to go in. Tavern's full, and those soldiers are being a nuisance. It's no trouble. And good luck to you.
I want to go home.
As if we needed more fighting here. Don't you see how scared everyone is?
Bandits are back again.
Scared.
Why don't the Templars kill
Got a
them?
brother that fell at
We
Ostergal.
were lucky.
Hope we're not
going
next.
to pay the toll for those
Please,
bandits.
we came
Many
here to
didn't.
get away from the fighting.
I brought my family to Lothering because I thought it would be safe.
I brought my family to Lothering
Got a
because I
brother that
thought
fell
it
at
would be
Ostergal.
My
safe.
family to Lothering
Hope
because
we're
I
not
thought it would be
next.
safe.
We were lucky.
We're planning on running that mine until the last minute.
Bandits.
Celeron's orders.
Many didn't.
We were lucky. We had the
Brought my
coin to
family
pay
to
the
Lothering
toll to
because I
those
thought it would
bandits.
be
Those
Many
bandits
didn't.
are back again. Why don't the Templars
I
kill
heard
them?
those bandits are back again. Why don't the Templars kill them?
You got a bed for the night. You taken care of. Ever since good King Cailan passed, refugees and soldiers have been passing through. I'm the elder here, and I've my hands full making sure refugees don't turn to petty theft, or worse. Sir Bryant at the Chantry is seeing to matters of defence and such. He'd have more of an ear for your type. Too much to do, and not enough time. I don't suppose you know anything of tonics, medicines, or herbs. Then you may be able to do us a lot of good. All manner of travellers come through, many injured or sick. We do our best, but we're out of supplies. There's medicinal herbs in the woods to the north. If you make a few poultices, I'll scrape together some sort of payment. I'll write all you need to know in this note here. Have any luck finding herbs in the woods? This will help many people. You're a good sort, you know. Thanks for the poultices. They may save some
Terrible for
lives.
Queen Lenora that her young king is dead.
I almost feel
And she
sorry
not
for the
even with
Qunari locked in
child.
that cage. It won't be able to defend itself from the Darkspawn.
I heard those bandits are back again. Why don't the Templars kill them?
Hello, stranger. I don't suppose you know anyone that can make traps? Old man Barlin said that Darkspawn may be coming soon. He's got traps on his farm. I figured I'd put a few on my lands. Barlin wants to poison his traps. I just want normal traps. None to be had. Barlin has all the traps in the village in his fields. He doesn't have any poison yet, thank the Maker. So his fields are just full of traps. He can be a bit eccentric. I didn't mean to bother you. Sorry. A lean harvest, and so many mouths to feed.
Got a cousin in the Templars. He says the mages in the tower out on Lake Calenhard are all turning into demons.
They always say that, though.
Well, this time it's true. They're not sure what to do about it yet, he says.
What's to do? I thought you killed them.
Easier said than done. The mages pick a fine time to go turning into demons, I tell you.
Yes.
Well, look what we have here, men. I think we've just been blessed.
Uh-oh. Logain's men. This can't be good.
Didn't we spend all morning asking about a fellow by this very description? And everyone said they hadn't seen him.
It seems we were lied to.
Gentlemen, surely there's no need for trouble. These are no doubt simply more poor souls seeking refuge.
They're more than that. Now stay out of our way, sister. You protect these traitors, you'll get the same as them.
Tern Logain claims the Grey Wardens betrayed the king. Or haven't you heard?
Enough talk! Take the warden into custody. Kill this sister and anyone else that gets in your way.
Right. Let's make this quick.
Right, you've won. We surrender.
Good. They've learned their lesson and we can all stop fighting now.
Please wait!
They have surrendered. They were no match for you. Let them be. But they failed, and I do not wish death on anyone. You mean... Very well. May the Maker forgive your trespasses. May he keep you in his sight and guide you. I apologize for interfering, but I couldn't just sit by and not help. And I know that you did what you had to. I do wish they had backed down, however. Let me introduce myself. I am Liliana, one of the lay sisters of the Chantry here in Lothering. Oh, I was. Those men said you're a Grey Warden. You will be battling the Darkspawn, yes? That is what Grey Wardens do. I know after what happened, you will need all the help you can get. That's why I'm coming along. The Maker told me to. I know that sounds absolutely insane, but it's true. I had a dream. A vision.
More crazy? I thought we were all full up.
Look at the people here. They are lost in their despair, and this darkness, this chaos, will spread. The Maker doesn't want this. What you do, what you are meant to do, is the Maker's work. Let me help. Then what? What happens when the Hold comes? It will follow anywhere we flee until all we know is destroyed.
Perhaps your skull was cracked worse than Mother thought.
Thank you. I appreciate being given this chance. I will not let you down.
Blast and damnation!
Indeed.
Indeed.
Oh, blast it.
Blood and damnation.
Blast and damnation!
Yes.
Indeed.
Who are you? Can you protect us?
If you want something, speak to Denal. I don't deal with customers.
What is it?
Mm-hmm.
Blight has truly come, and the king is dead. We're all going to die.
As I live and breathe, you're the Grey Warden everyone's been talking about. I represent the Blackstone Irregulars. We're a mercenary company that fell on hard times after the war with Orlais. I'm sure you know that times are getting worse every day. With your help, the Irregulars could be of use to Ferelden once more. The Blackstone Irregulars fought alongside the King's army against Orlais. We've helped nobles defend their land and given our service to people in need for generations. Our current captain, Raelnor, is an honorable man who sees that we can do some good in Ferelden once more. He is so confident in our mission that he trusted the Grey Wardens would support us. Our leaders thought you might be willing to help. Each of our posts in Ferelden will contain letters addressed to you. Unlike most who work with us, you're getting letters straight from Raelnor and Tauran, our leaders. I hope this tells you how highly the Irregulars regard the Grey Wardens. Thank you. When you've completed a mission, just return to me or any of our members stationed at an Irregulars post. We'll make sure your efforts are rewarded. Maker's blessings light your path.
As you like.
Maker's blessings upon you, Warden.
I am trying to listen to the
We were
bard's
lucky.
song.
We
Can
had
I
the
speak
coin
to
to
listen
pay
to
the
the
toll
bard's
to those
song? Can we
bandits.
speak when they're done?
Many didn't.
I brought my family to Lothering because I thought it.
I can't just pack up my whole farmhold and flee. The army will save us, won't they?
Soldiers would
I,
hold Lothering.
I don't want...
Gonna make more trouble? You've about all we can stand in Lothering now. They had it coming, and they were trouble enough themselves. So long as you don't start more, I won't get excited. Right then, name's Denal. Sorry I can't chat much. As you see, we've a full house. Look around. People are sleeping on the floors and in the attic. That's how many rooms I don't have. I hear that Tyr Loghain, the regent, is calling for new levies of troops. He wants to rebuild the army we lost at Astegard. Thing is, there's not a lot of spare men to be found. Out of Dragon's Peak, there's press gangs roaming around, grabbing any free man they can lay their hands on. Anything else I can get you? It's not just Darkspawn and the Horde, you know that? There are people with them. Folks who are sick with the blight, and their minds are all twisted and mad. I heard tell of a man meeting his own brother on the field, yet when he called out to him, his brother didn't even recognize him and just attacked. Anything else I can get you? I heard from some travelers that something bad might have happened in Redcliffe, overrun by Darkspawn, maybe. There's no word from the village at all. A merchant friend of mine said he encountered someone fleeing the place and there was nothing waiting for him there but death. He wisely turned around and came right back. Anything else I can get you? There's knights from Redcliffe spread all over Ferelden on some kind of mission, but I hear that they're starting to become rare to find. Maybe they all went back to Redcliffe. More likely they got tired of searching for something that can't be found and abandoned their search. I wonder what Earl Eamon is gonna do without any knights. Anything else I can get you? I hear news from Dinnerham that Tyrn Loghain has been declared the new regent. It makes sense, his daughter being the queen. Anything else I can get you? Thank the Maker we didn't lose Tyrn Loghain at Ostagar. He pulled his troops out just in time, so it said. Without him, we'd be lost. Anything else I can get you? I hear the Dwarven King is passed on. Old as he was probably poisoned or assassinated. That's how the dwarves normally go out, isn't it? Anything else I can get you? Something's going on at the Mage's Tower at Lake Calenhod. Nobody knows exactly what, though, and the Templars aren't saying. Exactly what we need, isn't it? Let's hope the Mages are just cooking up something to deal with the Darkspawn. Somebody should be, after all. Anything else I can get you? Some folks aren't happy about Tyrn Loghain being named regent. There are rumors he had something to do with the king's death. Isn't that the most ridiculous thing you ever heard? The Darkspawn killed him, sure enough. If Tyrn Loghain couldn't save the king from that end, then nobody could. Anything else I can get you? I hear tell they held a funeral in Dinnerham for King Caelan. The Grand Cleric called for a full day of mourning, and there was a procession a mile long passing by the brazier. It's too bad they don't have a body to properly burn. What happened to him at the hands of those creatures, it's unthinkable. Anything else I can get you? With King Caelan dead, the throne falls to Queen Anora. She's made her father the regent, however, at least for now. I think Caelan's father, old King Merritt, would have approved. Anything else I can get you? I hear from folks traveling the East Roads that there's werewolves in the Brazilian forest. Actual werewolves. They haven't been around since the days of Dane and his ilk. Anything else I can get you? There's talk that King Caelan was cheating on the Queen and she found out about it. That's why Tyrn Loghain abandoned Caelan at Ostagar. Anything else I can get you? Some hunters who range into the Brazilian forest say that a Dalish clan there has fallen to some kind of sickness. The Blight, most likely, poor sods. Anything else I can get you? I heard a strange rumor the other day. King Caelan was not really Merrick's son, you see. Merrick's real son is hidden in the bowels of Denham's palace and has been since he was born. I suppose they feed him cakes all day to keep him content. Maybe he's simple. Or a mage. Merrick's real son, a mage. Can you imagine? Anything else I can get you? I've heard a rumor that the reason Queen Anora has never produced an heir is that she's barren. It's a curse from the Maker for bringing a commoner into the royal line. Until someone of royal blood is put on the throne, there will never be an heir. It seems the royal line of Calenhod has been broken for good now. Anything else I can get you? I don't know what to tell you. Nothing I can think of at the moment. What can I get you then? When Tyrn Loghain marched by, he left those fellas behind to look for Grey Wardens. I suppose that's you. Fair enough. What can I get you then? I don't know what to tell you. Nothing I can think of at the moment.
Yes? Lothering? I think it started as a settlement by the river, and then grew when it became the place where two roads met. There are always people in Lothering, but many are just passing through. Yes? Well, here I am. I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell. And the darkness drew me in. I suppose I did. That was what the darkness was, no? When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, The rose bush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith. In my dream, I fell, or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the Blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the Blight devours everything? He's still here. I hear him in the wind and the waves. I feel him in the sunlight that warms my skin. I know what the Chantry says about the Maker, and what should I believe? What I feel in my heart, or what others tell me? Thank you. It's nice to find someone who agrees. I know what I know, and no one will ever make that untrue. Yes? Well, here I am. Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my Chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose. When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools. What can I say to them? What they believe is what the Chantry says, and the Chantry is infallible, yes? Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now. Yes? Well, here I am. What is meant by someone like me? Did you think I was always a cloistered sister? The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed. We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the Chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken. I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on. Yes? Well, here I am. Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think. Chantry law says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin. And it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris. Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais. A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot. Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the grand tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on and was not discovered. Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Keleva in the Grand Melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Keleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Keleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Keleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Keleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat. The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Orlais so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier. I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth? Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you. Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar, and he took her for his wife. Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love. Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Hayava, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds. Which one? I have heard a little about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinter Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south and settled there in a land of their own. The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The chantry declared a wholly exalted march against the elves, named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. They were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish. Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker. Alas, it was the frailties of men that betrayed and killed Andraste. Her earthly husband, Maferath, a chieftain of the Alamari tribes himself, grew jealous as his wife's popularity and influence overshadowed his own. She was also revered as the Maker's betrothed, and Maferath began to see their own bond waning in significance as Andraste became ever more devoted to the Maker. Out of envy and spite, Maferath made a pact with the Archon Hessarian of Tevinter, allowing his beloved Andraste to be ambushed and captured. Andraste was burned at the stake in Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter. The Tevinter Chantry claims that in Andraste's last moments, Hessarian's heart softened, and he heard the voice of the Maker telling him to end her suffering. He plunged his sword into her heart, and as her blood washed over his hands, he became one of the faithful. Dissenters said that the Archon only converted because he could not stem the tide of Andraste's cult, and was forced to do so to stay in power. We will never know for sure. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this. But Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker. Her earth. Andraste was burned at the stake in Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter. I have thought on this too. Did he withdraw his sight from her at that moment? Where were all the powers he bestowed upon her? This question has come to me many times, and I have no answer. Perhaps there was no way for Andraste to return to the Maker but through her death. We will never know for sure. Yes? Well, here I am.